Okay, I think we're live. Yeah, thanks for joining. So today we're going to talk about a very, very important, maybe the most important part when it comes to your sleep. And that's actually how we can fight our minds that keep us busy, that keep us distracted from our sleep, right? So if you're struggling with your sleep because when you're hitting the bed, you start to think about stressful things, or you're worried about, what may happen the day after, or you're angry because of things that happened in the past, like could be the current day, could be the past, or a lot of other things. You might just be excited. Then today's topic is just for you. So we're going to talk about how we can fight our mind for a peaceful night of sleep. And talking about fighting our mind, the way to fight our mind is actually to befriend our mind, right? So today we're going to talk about how can we do that? Like how can we befriend our minds to turn it from a very active, very like rather fight or flight mode into that peaceful, calm, safe state that will help us to fall asleep. Actually, if we start to do a real fight, let's start off with giving you a little picture here. It's a little bit like if we're fighting the Hydra, right? The Hydra in the Greek mythology was a creature that Hercules had to fight against, was one of his challenges. And the Hydra had like what happened was like a snakish creature with 9 heads. And as soon as you chopped off one head, there were two new coming. So it got worse and worse, right? And it's kind of the same if we actually start to fight our minds literally, if we do that literally. So we need to figure out a smarter way to do so. And actually, the way to do so is to befriend our minds. And today we're going to talk about, I'm going to walk you through a couple of things that you need to know, a sequence that you need to know to, or should know, you don't need to, you can like tune out and move on with any other ideas, but a sequence of things that make it so much easier to actually do the things that you need to do to rapidly, like that can really, sometimes it's just a game changer. You flip that switch and things change for the better. So to rapidly improve your sleep quality. And just to give you a little bit of context, and before I forget it afterwards, today we're talking about the mind, right? And the mind is part of the sleep map. This is the 9-step system that I use in all of my coachings, all of my sleep coachings. That gives you a very clear sequence of what you need to do to move from where you're moving right now, like probably you're not having the best sleep, that's why you're watching the video, back to superb sleep. So it's not only important to know what you need to do, right? But also you need to do the right things in the right sequence. And that's what most other systems are lacking. Like you get a sleep tip here, a sleep tip there, but then it's really hard to actually do the things in the right way. And often it leads to, if you're not set up in the right way, you might do things that even work at times, right? And then you crash again, and that's even worse than if things don't work, at least for me. And when I coach people, I don't really like to see that. I like to see sustainable progress, right? So you need to have a couple of things in line. And today, just to show you the sleep map, which you can, by the way, download for free. I'm going to drop the link underneath this video, and you can download it for free. If you don't find the link here, or you want to search on it in the internet, you can do so. You're going to find it on sleeptrust.eu. If you visit www.sleeptrust.eu for European Union, right? So let me just share this with you. This is how it looks. Very straightforward little framework. So it's 9 steps, as said, like getting you started down here. Where's my little pen? Getting you started here. This is where you start. Typically not too good sleep, so unhappy. And then you move through these 9 steps and implement the things, excuse me, in the right sequence. And up there, like you're that smiley woman or man, like we'll say. Um, so to give you the context, and that's why I opened this thing, today we're talking about step number 6, it's the mind. Like if you're unsure if you've got the other steps in line, download the sleep map. It comes along with a 10-minute video where I walk you through all of these steps, and you can like check for yourself what you've already got in place. And if you see you've got a little like black hole, you can work on that, right? But do it in the right sequence. So it's very important. You don't want to start with your mind if you're not, if you're not staying accountable to yourself, as an example. Odds are you're not going to follow through. And there are a lot of things baked into this system. So just do yourself a favor, check it out, and move through the system to improve your sleep. But today, let's talk about our minds. Now it's time to really dive deep. So one problem when it comes to the mind, like typically we're all looking for this magic pill, right? In a metaphorical way. So I know you're not looking for a pill, otherwise you would not be here. You would be visiting your doctor, right? You're looking for coaching. But even in the coaching sessions and coaching setups, people, including me, want to have the easy solution, right? And the easy solution often has in mind like, oh, give me that pill that I just need to take. Give me that one exercise, that one practice, that one tip, and that will release me once and forever. And the problem with this is there is just not a one solves all solution, the one solves all sleeping pill, as an example here. So what you need to do, and that's the very first thing, and at the end I'm going to run you through and share a couple of really practical tools that you can all use and start to implement, no matter if you're walking through the sleep map or not. But one important thing and aspect is to, number one, become aware of what's going on in your mind. What's in your mind is not the same as what's going on in my mind and as what's going on in somebody else's mind. So the very first thing that you need to do and want to do is to listen to the voices in your mind when you're lying in bed. Like you can do that over the entire day, but start with your bed. Like when you're in bed, what's the chatter? What are you thinking about? What pictures are you seeing? So become very aware of what your brain is doing there. Are you worried again? Are you fearful again? Are you like, the again part is like, you're going to notice if you do it 2, 3, 4, 5 times in a row. The first time you're just going to notice what's going on in your mind, right? And then don't fight it. Don't bash yourself, say, you stupid brain, shut up, or whatever. That's like chopping one head off of the Hydra, right? 2 new heads are going to show up. You don't want to do that. You want to be very kind to yourself. So the first step is just to become aware and say, oh yeah, I'm worried. Okay. And then, or I've got fears about, what's going on in my job, my personal life. I've got whatever it is for you, become aware. And then you need to look for a solution, find a solution that fits that specific self-talk that you've got going on in your mind. And there are a lot of techniques and tools that you can use to do so, but don't fight it. Don't give any bad value to it and say, oh, something's wrong with me. Why am I thinking about this again? That's all not good and not helpful. Be kind to yourself. Listen and say something like, that's interesting. That thought's showing up again. Oh, the next thought and picture is kind of related. Like it's not the same situation, but I'm thinking about something, I'm worried again. So that might be an issue. And then you can move on, and you don't want to block off the worriness, but you want to kind of flip it to the positive. You want to guide your mind very, very peacefully and very understandingly and say, look, everything's going to be okay. Like if you're worried, everything's going to be okay. And just think about, something rather positive that fits that theme. And that way, because, there's one like thought out there, and you might have stumbled over that too, is that, oh, I want to quiet my mind. I want it to shut up, literally. And there is a state where your mind shuts up, right? And that state is death. So if you don't want to die, like You don't want your mind to silence because it can't. The job of our minds is to process information, and it does it day and night. Like even when we're sleeping, our brains are active. Like we're dreaming, brain waves are going through, moving data from uh, the prefrontal cortex down to the deeper parts of our brain and back and forth, and whatever magic happens in our brains. They're just there to process information, and they do it 24/7. So the solution is not to wish yourself that your mind quiets. The solution is that you wish yourself that your mind thinks about things that are rather pleasant, rather calm, relaxing, that you get to find out a way to accept things. And that's a big game changer. So that's a general rule. Step number one is just to listen, to become to learn about yourself more. And if you think, yeah, I know what's going on, this is what's happening, take your time to really listen to that and observe it. Just observe it and try to talk to yourself in a calm, kind, understanding voice and say, I get that you're worried. That's okay. Let's worry tomorrow. Like start to do these things, right? Um, so becoming aware. Number two, let's talk about a couple of techniques that can help you, me, everybody here listening to this video. And by the way, if you have any questions, drop them into the comments, right? So I'm not going to reply to those during this live session, but I will do afterwards. And if you're watching this as a recording, just add your question and I'm going to reply to all comments underneath this video. So number two is, let's talk about a couple of techniques. So when we're talking about techniques, there are two things when it comes to our minds that come to mind. Like number one is meditation. And you might be familiar with meditation. You might not be. You might think they work. You might think they don't. But meditation works. It's a scientific fact. The thing is, and they work for everybody. We can all meditate. And if you believe, and I've heard that so often over and over and over again from people that reach out to me, oh yeah, I've tried that before, or oh, meditation doesn't work for me, or some people think it's something hokey, like, no, 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 free yourself from all of that. We as human beings constantly meditate. And the way we do so is when we alter our state of mind. That can happen when you're sitting down on a chair and you just wander off with your mind, right? It just wanders off. That's a sort and a kind of meditation. So what you want to do is to figure out what meditation suits you best. And there are a couple of meditations. So you don't have to choose the first one you find. Like there are guided meditations that you could choose. Like let's say if you're worried, you can find something that tackles worries. A guided meditation that will walk you through some, imagination, some story that will help you to really let your mind be guided to a place that is not worried, rather, right? You can meditate over an affirmation, something that tackles worries. Like I know that everything is going to work out fine. That could be a good affirmation. And if you say that over and over again, you're keeping your mind busy, right? We can't silence our mind, but we can guide it towards the direction that's good for us. So and if you do that using an affirmation, that's a kind of a meditation. If you say that over and over again. And if you go to church or you went to church in the past, no matter what church that was, often prayers are like this too. I think it doesn't really matter which religion you choose. They all have some kind of a repetitive a ritual at one point or another where you just repeat one prayer over and over and again. And what happens is you go into a meditative state too. And the same is true for the affirmation. You guide your mind through that sentence. Everything is going to work out fine for me. Everything is going to work out fine. You pick a sentence that works for you, and that's a meditation. You can do a breathing meditation, super powerful. That's more related to our bodies, right? The affirmation is more inside of our mind. The breathing exercise is more related to our bodies. So if you're more the body type, the kinesthetic type, try that. Just focus on your breath, moving in through your nose, out through your nose, in through your nose, out through your nose. Breathing in, breathing out slightly longer than you breathe in is a great powerful tool to relax. And you can say stuff to yourself like every time I breathe in relaxation and safety and breathe out like the worries. Play around with this. Put on your lab coat and keep in mind that you are able to meditate. And that's the most powerful way to really guide yourself in tackling what's going on in your life and to befriend your mind to prepare a stage for peaceful, resting, deep sleep. So, step one, step two, becoming aware of what's going on in your situation. Number two, grabbing the right tool, right? The right meditation technique. I'm just going to call it meditation technique, no matter if we're talking about affirmations, if we're talking about breathing, if we're talking about guided meditations, if we're talking about, there's a lot of meditations. And if you're insecure, as I said, download the Sleep Trust Sleep Map. There's a little video that goes along with it. I think I share a couple of different meditations there. If not, there is an opportunity where you can book a quick call with me and 15 minutes, and that's enough to help you, for me to help you, like you share a little bit about your situation, and I'm going to tell you exactly what you should focus on to, move on quickly when it comes to your sleep or move back quickly to your sleep again. So number three, let's talk about a practical tip. And I'm going to close up the session after this thing. And I believe like this tip will help a lot of you. There's a big misunderstanding about sleep when it comes to working on our sleeps, right? And this misunderstanding is I go to bed because I want to sleep. So what happens then is that you try to sleep, and especially true for people like you and me, like I've had it in the past, and you're watching this video are probably having sleep problems right now, that if we don't get that sleep, we go to bed with the expectation that we want to sleep, right? And it seems to be a logical and straightforward thought and approach. The thing with this is that sleep is an unconscious process. There's no way for us to control our sleep with our brains, right? It's an unconscious process. So when we have sleeping problems and we try to control things that we cannot control, it backfires. It's like trying to chop off 2 or 3 heads off of that hydra, which is awesome, right? We try really hard and we get, we chop them off and then boom, things get worse and worse and worse. 6 heads now on top of what we had before. So what you want to do is to go to bed with the intention to rest. Sounds like a very, very minor thing to change in your mind, right? But it's a massive game changer. So if we go to bed with the intention to rest, the big difference is that we can control our rest to 100%. We can go to bed and consciously say and decide that we deserve to rest, right? It was a hard day. We worked through all the things that were to, got them done. Things happened. Maybe we didn't get them done. Doesn't matter. Like we went through the experience of the day. And now it's time for us to rest. We deserve to rest. And we can decide to do so. And the moment we hit the bed, we should decide to rest. And that should be our only thought. Because if we decide to rest, we accept everything else, right? We can close our eyes. That's resting. We don't have to pick up a phone. We don't have to talk. We can do whatever we want to do. We're resting. 100% in our control. And when we do that, and add on top of that the little things that I just shared with you, then sleep is going to take care of itself. If we want to sleep, we're going to build up pressure, we're going to stress ourselves, we cannot control us into sleep. That's going to backfire on us because now we're lying in bed saying, oh, I need to sleep so urgently. I want it so hard. Why is it not coming to me? Why can't I sleep, right? That's the chatter that we're going to hear then, making it harder and harder and sometimes nearly impossible to fall asleep. So if you're kind of if you could resonate with that, which I'm sure a lot of you can, just try it out for 1, 2, 3 days And I'm sure this can be a game changer for a lot of you listening and watching this video. Go to bed with intention to rest, accept your thought, become aware, pick the right meditation guide. And that's these 3 steps are just like if we're talking about Pareto, 80 to 20, right? 20% of our actions result in 80% of our results. These are the 20%. Like obviously there are always special situations where there's more sophisticated advice needed. If you feel you're in that spot, reach out to me. I'm happy to help you out. We can always hop onto a quick call. But for all others of you, these are the 20% you really want to focus on. 20% that will give you 80% of your sleep results. So do that. Don't forget to check out the Sleep Trust Sleep Map for free. There's a little walkthrough. And yeah, if you have any other questions, just drop them into the comments. I'm looking forward to see you in the next video where we are going to talk about habits. Super powerful, super important to have that in place, because in the end, if we want something to change in our life, we need to change something that we do every single day. Or flipping it around, as Einstein said, if you believe you can change your life without changing something that you do every day differently, then you must be insane. So we're going to talk about that in the next video. Until then, have a superb sleep. See you. Bye.